I'm Dr. Mike Gradisar, Head of Sleep Science at Sleep Cycle. I'm a clinical psychologist specialising in sleep disorders, and I've been helping people sleep better for the past 20 years. But I haven't been satisfied with just helping people in my own hometown. Basically, I've come to Sleep Cycle to help millions of people around the world, including you. Menopause and sleep. It's a hot topic at the moment, mind the pun. But as much as I might be 50, and clearly I'm a bloke, and around the 50s, that's when menopause happens. But what am I to say about that? I really don't know anything about the experience. You do. But what I can offer is that I did my PhD on the topics of sleep, insomnia, and thermoregulation. Do those topics sound familiar? Well, if they do, then stick around, and I'll tell you about the research in those topics, but more importantly, what to do about them. So when it comes to sleep issues and menopause, what are some of the common experiences that occur? Well, insomnia is one of them. It's almost like the sort of underlying layer, the foundation of the issue. What will happen is that some women say that it's difficult to fall asleep at the start of the night, but a lot of them say that they wake up a lot during the night. And it's the waking up during the night that seems to be the biggest issue. Now, on top of that insomnia layer is another layer, which is the thermoregulation. This is where women will report hot flashes. Now, these hot flashes can occur at any time of the day or the night. And speaking of night, there's also night sweats. Women can report that they wake up covered in a film of sweat. So stacked on top of the insomnia and the thermoregulation is another factor, another one that's physiological, one that you cannot see. You can measure it, but it's hard to see it. Snoring. Sometimes people are snoring and it actually wakes them up, but they're not aware of it. And then finally, the fourth layer is a solution that a lot of women have tried. They're absolutely frustrated. They really sort of seek something to sort of help them sleep. And it does actually help them fall asleep at the start of the night. But unfortunately, it's another thing that exacerbates this layered stack that is really targeted at waking people up during the night. So we're going to discuss each of these 4 layers and really address what you can do for each of them so you can actually sleep better and feel better. So let's go through a mini lesson when it comes to thermoregulation and sleep. Now, the first thing to consider is something called core body temperature. And as it sounds, core means the temperature within us, right deep inside. Now, over the course of the 24 hours, we actually have fluctuations in our core body temperature, but it's highest around about the early evening, say about 6 or 7 o'clock in the evening. Now, the interesting thing is that some of the research that I did for my PhD demonstrated that the core body temperature is a bit like the thermostat in your household. It's set at a certain temperature and there's a slight fluctuation around that. But here's the thing. When I was looking at the differences in core body temperature between people that had insomnia and people that slept well, the people with insomnia had a higher thermostat the whole 24 hours. So what does that mean? If you're experiencing chronic sleep problems, you're more likely to respond by having this elevated core body temperature. And having an elevated core body temperature is more likely what's happening for women when they're going through menopause. So that's the first part. Now, when people are actually trying to fall asleep, core body temperature has to make some changes. So from the early evening through to when you're going to bed, you actually start to reduce your core body temperature. And you need to do this so that you feel sleepy and then you can fall asleep. Now, the body does this naturally. The way that it does this is to actually transfer the heat from the core through the blood vessels to the skin. And not just everywhere in the skin, there's certain areas that are better at releasing this warm heat. And they are the feet, the face, and the hands. What happens is that we need to actually release that heat from the periphery, and it happens naturally. But the next step is really crucial as well. We need to actually transfer this heat from our body to the environment. And the way we do that best, especially if we're feeling really hot, is that we have a cooler environment around us in the air. Despite the fact that hot flashes will happen at most times of the day, they can actually be the most frequent in the early evening. This is when core body temperature is at its peak. And what researchers have found is that if the core body temperature is too hot and the air is too hot, it makes it hard to transfer that heat from the body to the surrounding environment. Now that we understand this, what can we do about it? So what we're going to go through now is some things you can try in the short term and some things you can try in the medium term. So let's have a look at some short-term strategies that you can try even tonight. So first, really you've got to cool the air temperature in your bedroom, but don't necessarily do this too late. Like, do it in advance. If your cold body temperature is going to be really warm around, say, 6 or 7 o'clock at night, right around then, see if you can even start to cool down the temperature of your bedroom. Now, in the evening, you can maybe even plan for some relaxing techniques, exercises, tasks, whatever you might sort of like to enjoy to do. If these actually incorporate you shutting your eyes, say for example, yoga or meditation, you're actually going to help your body release some heat. My PhD research actually showed that when we shut our eyes, we actually start to automatically lose heat from the hands. So this is something you can try as well. And then there's what do you do during the night? Well, what we're trying to do for you guys is essentially cool your body down, release that heat. And there's a number of steps that you can do for that. So consider clearly your bedroom environment, your air in the bedroom. Try to keep that cool as much as you can during the night. Even if you can have a fan, that can actually be quite useful because the air is flowing across your body and it can help to prevent any awakenings from the night sweats. Then consider the fact that you've got to think about the air temperature around your body. Consider your bedclothes. Are they breathable enough? Consider your blanket. Is it too heavy? Is it trapping in a lot of heat? If it is, do the simple exercise. Just simply take it off, let all the heat out, let it escape so it's not surrounding you. Do that for about a minute or two. Even if you're feeling sleepy during the night, if you fall back to sleep, that's great. If not, after a couple of minutes, put it back down. You can always put your foot out, you can take your socks off. Any way to sort of help you release that heat. So those are some short-term strategies. What about some medium ones? So let's now go through some medium-term strategies. Now, when it comes to insomnia, cognitive behavior therapy has been shown to be the best treatment for insomnia, even better than sleeping pills. And what researchers are starting to find is that once people have undergone CBTI, that is cognitive behavior therapy for insomnia, afterwards, they're actually noticing that people are having a lower core body temperature. It's almost like working on our insomnia, which is somewhat psychological, also feeds into the physiological. And it starts to actually stop that engine from running over time. So that's one strategy. Another strategy is snoring. Now, we haven't talked that much about it, and people don't like to, but most people, when they're going through menopause, will increase in their snoring. And when it comes to snoring, about 80% of people will snore on their back. Now, if you don't experience any sort of shoulder pain or hip pain, or if it's not too uncomfortable, see if you can experiment with sleeping on your side. And you've got two choices, left or right. See if that actually helps and you feel a bit more refreshed. And then finally, we talked about some particular solution that people might try for themselves. One where they are able to fall asleep quicker, but then it backfires and they're waking up more during the night. And that's alcohol. Alcohol is a very common sleep aid. And some research has shown that people will turn to this during menopause. But also what they'll discover is that eventually they find that it's not working for them and people actually start to cut back on their alcohol. And our own research last year that we published managed to find that when people actually cut down on their level of alcohol, the number of drinks that they have per week, then we actually see a reduction in insomnia symptoms, especially if they do this over a 30-day period. So you might want to consider dry July or dry January or sober October, even experiment with one of those. So there you go. You've got a range of different options there. Each of them contribute to waking up. So imagine if you're able to try a few of them, then you've got the decreased odds of waking up during the night and sleeping better. And if you sleep better, of course you're going to feel better when you wake up. So in this video, we've discussed a range of different reasons that can increase awakenings during menopause. So thermoregulation, snoring, and alcohol. And the more of these factors that are at play, the higher the odds that awakenings will happen. But the good news is that we've discussed antidotes for each of these, helping to cool your body, cool your environment, maybe think about not having so much alcohol and sleeping on your side. And if you want to learn more, go to our website where we discuss a lot more information and research about menopause and sleep, and reach out to us on our socials. Ask more questions. We're happy to answer. We'd love to have this conversation and keep it running.